Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Muslim View. I'm your host, Rafat Hussain. We're hosting the Canadian Council of Imams with their monthly meetings, and first and foremost, we're going to be talking to Dr. Al-Nadwi, who is the chair of the Canadian Council of Imams. Okay, Dr. Al-Nadwi, tell me what exactly is involved with regards to the monthly meetings with the Canadian Council of Imams?
Mostly, we have three issues with our Council of Imams. First thing, we care about our Imams, those who care about our community. So we make, for example, all kind of thing what is easy for them or make their job easy. So we listen to them, we bring them, for example, their issues, and also sometimes we raise some of their issues to their masajid and masjid communities and so on. And we really try to make, for example, this kind of spiritual leadership of Imam, which is supposed to be available for our community. So the second thing is community. We guide community in the religious thing, especially in the some issues which is related to our Islam and Muslim thing and so on. And we issue statements, and sometimes we issue some kind of, for example, I can say, for example, either supporting a statement for other organization which suppose active in Muslim community. And the third thing is that we have a kind of official representative of Muslim community in government offices, and suppose, for example, for any kind of multi-faith or interfaith kind of activities. So if they need any kind of Islamic point of view or ruling, so they are always contact us, and we provide them all the, for example, issues which is really Islamic way to explain to them.
Okay. You had mentioned in your first concern was with regards to the issues that are brought forward. Could you explain some of the issues that the Imams face?
Mostly, we have two kind of issues. One thing that, suppose, for example, Imams, if they are, for example, addressing our community, so their address supposed to make Muslim better Muslim. So explain about Islamic perspective, about what is the current challenges they are facing. So we cover our youth, we cover our, for example, sisters, and we cover our, for example, larger community. And also we do some kind of workshops, seminars, and also some kind of presentation. So in this way, our community become, for example, involved in Islamic activities, especially, when some issues are very, very, I can say, for example, important for our community, but it is not ending with some conclusion, just like an Eid issue or kind of, moon sighting issue,
right,
halal issue or kind of these things. So we try, for example, to make a kind of broad-based understanding, because in our community here, we are not coming from one country, from one fiqh or one school. So we, for example, train our Imam, and also we educate our community how they live with different views under Islamic understanding, so there will be a better combination of ummah with different colors in different languages.
Now, you had mentioned something about training. Now, is there also a professional development for Imams?
Mostly, we do it with a kind of joint effort. Suppose, for example, if I'm trying to offer some kind of these things, so suppose we need some family counseling. So we bring some also expert from other side and also from Islamic side. So this kind of training will combine both needs for our community. And also suppose some youth issues. And sometimes we deal with some Muslim issues with our government. So suppose RCMP or some other groups, when they need some kind of our help to deal with youth, so we provide them some kind of resources and also support for their activities.
And the second reason that you had mentioned was with regards to community involvement. How has the community been involved with the greater Canadian community within the Muslim community, if that makes sense?
Just I give you very, near example what happened in election. We mobilize our community with two things. First thing, they have to vote, right? Because most of the time the survey said that Muslims are not participating in voting. And some reason behind it, Islamic. They said it's religiously we're not supposed to vote. So we, for example, correct their understanding and we push them to vote. This is the first thing. And this time we can see the result because the percentage very high this time. And second thing is that we not suppose endorse any candidate, but we see that who is good for community and who is, for example, serving community and also Canadian greater values. So we support them. And this time, actually, the change which happened, I can say that it was one of the contribution came from Muslim community in a very strong and powerful way.
Please join us after this short break. Welcome back, and we're going to continue with our conversation with Dr. Al-Nadwi. Now, your third aspect was with regards to the interfaith.
Yeah.
How has the interfaith community as such, in terms of organizations, how has that been with regards to when you meet with all of the Imams?
The issue of interfaith is two-way. One thing is that when we are living in Canada, so our first priority is to handle our interfaith dialogue among ourselves, because the conflicts or the, you can say, thing happening outside country, we don't want, for example, to bring it here and to affect our whole harmony and some kind of, fabric. So in this way, we have a good relation with different faith. And I myself, I'm a member of Canadian Forces Chaplaincy. And chaplaincy means it was only limited previously in only Christian, but now this chaplaincy is providing Muslim chaplain, Jewish chaplain, and also different Christian groups, denominations. So I'm the committee member of that one. In this way, I'm promoting how, for example, our youth, they join forces, and they will get the spiritual guidance from the chaplain, Muslim chaplain. So it is a big, for example, I can say achievement, even in the NATO level. NATO, other countries, they are looking, this model is very different from their model. So it is very different thing. And also we have some kind of conferences. So we have two people, those who are very, very well known in interfaith world. So they go to attend different conferences here in USA, and also that's like a World Parliament of Religion. Some of our members attended there, and also some people attended in Korea. There was a big conference there. So in this way, our representation is there, is very big. Just I give you one thing, that what happened in Saudi Arabia, they are trying to organize some conferences in different countries, and they are focusing on 2 points. One is interfaith, and second, intrafaith, among Muslims also. So we offer, if they want to, for example, organize, we can, for example, provide all the facilities we can do here. So we are expecting maybe in 2016 there will be a conference about this issue, and maybe it will be a kind of official way. For example, in a government level, people will attend from Saudi Arabia and from our government. So it will be a kind of great way to bring all communities at least to recognize each other, and to not suppose create a kind of problem for others. So it is a kind of minimum kind of relation, but we can extend to broader level.
Okay. Another question is like with regards to the whole council, do you also govern the criteria and credentials of an imam coming in?
This issue is technically we have a problem, because what happened, those who are coming from our madrasa or from Islamic universities, we have no any specific course for chaplaincy, right? Chaplains. And here, chaplaincy is a very different kind of religious service. So we actually offering some kind of diploma courses for chaplaincy, and also we are actually suppose, for example, a person come to me and he showed me his credentials and his, for example, degrees. So I just like, for example, see that this person can match with these kind of services or not. So we are providing some kind of services for chaplain in prison, chaplain in hospital, and chaplain also in forces and police also. So what happened, we have two I can say institute. One is in the USA. If you heard about the Ingrid Matheson,
yes,
she was chair there, so she was offering chaplaincy there. So we sometimes offer our student, our imam, to go there. And also we have one group who is also offering some kind of Islamic courses, and I think Brother Abdul Rashid Taylor, he involved in teaching there. So in this way, we are actually trying to make our chaplaincy credential different from only religious studies. Because sometimes Imam, they have Islamic studies, but they don't know how to deal with multi-faith society and multi-dimensional society. So this is our one of the area, but we are, just like you can say, moving to make, for example, better offer in that field.
We're going to continue talking with the Council of Imams after this short break. And now we'll be talking to the Secretary of the Canadian Council of Imams. Okay, welcome, Brother Taylor.
Thank you.
My question to you is I was talking to Dr. Al-Nadwi with regards to the training aspect. Could you elaborate a little bit more with regards to training and also with regards to the community aspect?
Okay, certainly. I think in the past, in recent years, we've had where the greater Canadian society is asking who are these imams, where they're coming from, are they trained, etc. And the Canadian Council of Imams have really responded to some of those needs that were being raised within the society. Where sometimes seemingly in public opinion or in public fora, imams were out of step with Canadian values, and there was a call and ask, are Muslim leaders in touch with Canadian values? And the Canadian Council of Imams have certainly been in touch with Canadian values over the years, but we have, the council has seen it as a priority to look at imams, their training, their certification, and their roles within the society. So that aspect of training for Canadian context was addressed rather early on. It's maybe 5 years ago. There has been some work with Emmanuel College, which has formed which initially looked at providing courses for imams in our communities to get in touch with things like the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, constitutional canon, those kind of things that were really beneficial to imams, and many imams made use of those opportunities. The ongoing training, Dr. Nadwi also spoke of chaplaincy training. Chaplaincy is a new horizon for many imams in Canada, and as a result, there has been a really demonstrated need for skills that go beyond the religious training that so many of our imams have had. And so the training around family counseling, the need for interfaith dialogue, working with young people, drugs, mental health, and mental health concerns. These have also been addressed by the Canadian Council of Imams through training. There's a Center for Dean Studies that is doing this work. There's a Hartford Seminary. Some of our members have studied there and completed their courses and are actually now working in Canada. There's also a university in the southwestern of Ontario, and some of our imams are also enrolled there for master's programs and PhD programs. So imams have come to Canada with religious trainings from outside of Canada. Some imams have had religious training in Canada, but there are also ongoing training to broaden the skill set of many imams. So that's important for our council. Dr. Nadwi also spoke of the nature of the council itself. It isn't, so we have members that represent Sunnis and Shias. We have members that whose first language is Arabic and some whose first language is English. So we have a very broad council that reflects our community as a whole in Canada, and we meet monthly. We respond to needs that come before us, certainly. Our website is well posted, www.canadiancouncilofimams.com. There are telephones numbers posted. We can also receive emails, and we answer all of the queries that come to us from a variety of contexts, from from religious needs, social needs, even spiritual and relationship needs. So we're there to serve. You know, the motto of the council includes that we are here to serve our people, and that's where we are as a Canadian Council of Imams.
Brother Taylor, Dr. Nathalie had also mentioned with regards to the youth.
Yes.
How is the Council of Imams reaching out to the youth, especially the youth that are disenfranchised?
Yeah. It's a growing concern. Not all of our imams are skilled in that area, and it's I see it as an area where things can be better. The concentration on youth needs around drugs, youth needs around mental health, and those are well on its way. There are other issues I think that we haven't got a chance to address yet. Homelessness among Muslim youth, sometimes disenfranchised youth, and their relationship with their faith tradition. Those are all things that are really new to us, and we're seeking opportunities to work with other institutes, other social and professional institutions that would train imams to respond to some of these issues, and we're looking for partnerships with these associations also to address those needs.
What can we do to better help you do your job better?
You're asking
it's a loaded question.
It is, right?
It
it's
is.
true. You're asking an organization whose role it is to serve.
Yes.
What can we do to help you? Help us serve, really.
Yes.
I think that continued support of programs and initiatives that imams put on is exceptionally important. Regularly, we make decisions at the council that that the imams will go back to their communities and deliver this, or would ask for this. Recently, around Canadian Muslim Vote, where the organization came to the imams and asked for the imams' participation, and the imams agreed that they will encourage their people to vote. I think continue to form that relationship with your imam. The Canadian Council of Imams is a public organization, a public institution that is reachable by regular means, telephone and by email. So if there are issues that the general public feels that they think is important, and they think it's important enough to connect with the Canadian Council of Imams, they should reach us directly and pose those questions, and especially and make also the invitations to respond to the needs of our wider community.
Okay. All right, Jazakallah.
Jazakallah khairan. Okay.
Please join us after this short break.
Hello, my name is Jeff Eames. I'm a member of the board of the London Multicultural Community Association, and we formed in 2010. We came together as a group to raise funds for the Haitian earthquake appeal. Since that day, we have formed a proper legalised organisation, and we have raised over $100,000, which has been donated to various appeals, mainly through the Red Cross and the YMCA. My role, or my link with the organisation, came about because of my role as president of the London branch of the Canadian Red Cross. Prior to that, I was an international aid worker and spent over 50 years travelling to 186 countries. During that time, I've seen every form of disaster and hardship, and I understand the need and the way we need to look at how we develop our resources and how we spend and support organisations that will be helping various refugee groups. I think the current fund to support the Syrian refugees is a very important one. The war going on in Syria at the moment, it's very violent. It's leaving many people as refugees. ruining their lives. The houses have gone, the schools have gone, all the local facilities are destroyed, and people are just left wandering around. They're trapped in refugee camps. They have no income. They have no hope. I think Canada is an incredibly wealthy country, and I think that we should be doing something. We should be looking after the people that need us most. And this is a great opportunity for us to help and bring to Canada some people that really need help and support. We need to do it. All I can do now is appeal that you will support our fundraising appeal, and that we will be able to put sufficient funds into the hands of the organisations that will support the refugees from Syria. Last year I celebrated my 50th year of international work, and I've been to dozens of really bad disasters. And every time I go there, they ask, where are the funds coming from? Where is all this relief coming from? How do we get it? And I tell them about you, and I tell them about the sacrifices being made to raise the funds to do the work we do. And every time, without exception, they say to me, when you go home, tell them thank you. So my first job this evening is to do that. Thank you very much on behalf of everything you've donated in the past.
There are people out there that are living in crisis, that are looking for an opportunity for themselves and for their family. And when they come to a country like Canada, and when they become Canadian citizens, their life changes. And they contribute to our society just as any other Canadian would contribute to our society.
And how do you feel this initiative is kind of not only an example for Londoners, but how can it affect, I guess, Canada as a whole?
Yeah, I think that we need to be really proud of our history, and we are a nation of immigrants, and that's really what makes this nation so strong. When we look at the Syrian refugee crisis and we see an opportunity to welcome families to Canada, I think that that's a very positive message.
What are your hopes for the refugees upon them arriving in London?
There are many community groups, faith-based groups, that are developing plans, wraparound plans that involve medical support, dental support, social support, and getting ready to welcome the Syrian families to our community. And so that's first and foremost a very warm welcome. And then secondly, beyond that, it's assisting the families in becoming a part of this society and joining our local economy and thriving like any other Canadian.
Why do you feel it's important for Londoners to take part in this initiative and be part of this project?
Yeah. Well, again, I think that we've all been affected by the images and by the stories. These are horrific conditions that these families find themselves in, and this is part of being a Londoner. This is part of being Canadian, and I think that this is a real call to action.
We hope you enjoyed our show today, and we hope to see you again next week. Thank you.